This next one, like, is really something that everybody do at one point in time, even me that I'm talking. And I want to really like talk on this one. Avoid impulse cut off. Like, I know it's like it is the go-to method everybody tend to run to when you have a disagreement, tend to like cut them off. We call it the silent treatment. You know, you have a lot of emotions, like, don't talk to me, I don't want to talk to you, I don't want to do it, I don't want to do that. It's always easier. It's actually easy to do. Just stay by yourself. Yes, I would say that silent treatment is something that should, if you know how to make use of it, then it should not be something that will now be used against your marriage. Instead of silent treatment, I think. Hello loves, welcome back to my channel. I'm so glad to have you here again today. If this channel has been blessing you so far, please subscribe to this channel. Like, you don't have to be sneaking in and sneaking out, because I actually see that most of those who watch my videos are not even subscribed. So that's why I tagged it sneaking in and sneaking out. Just do well to press the subscribe button. Like, you don't need to pay to do it, guys. This is just a way to encourage me to put out more content there, if you get what I mean. So right, in this video I'm going to be sharing with you tips that can help you to manage your emotions in marriage. Those sad emotions, those angry emotions, those like emotions here and there in marriage, because they are actually inevitable. So when you know how to manage your emotions in marriage, I think it's really going to go a long way to help you to enjoy and have a successful marriage, right? So I'm going to start by saying that emotions actually is an indicator. Like, it indicates, lets you know that you still care about someone, because obviously if you don't care about someone, you don't have emotions towards them. So that's why I can boldly tell you that the opposite of love is not actually hate. I know people say that when you don't love somebody again, I hate the person. Actually, I do not feel the opposite of love is actually hate. The opposite of love is indifference. Like, you are being indifferent about the person, because what does the person matter to you if the person, you don't love the person again? So there's no point wasting your hate emotion on the person. So when you don't love someone, you're indifferent about somebody. So when you have emotions towards somebody, good or bad or name it, whatever it is, that means you still care about the person. So that's just so without delay, let us jump into this tip. Trust me, you are going to take one or two lessons from what I'm going to be sharing with you. So sit back and watch till the end. So number one thing I'm going to be talking about is beware of your physical reactions. I think this is one thing we do not really pay attention to when we are having like issues in marriage, or having a disagreement. Like, for a good example, having a disagreement with your spouse or anything, I don't think we pay attention to our physical reaction. Ask me what I'm trying to say. Yes, I'm trying to say that maybe the person, your spouse is already saying things that are getting you angry. I feel that, like, your body sends signals to your brain and all that. I'm not a scientist, so I do not really know about part of it, but your body sends signals to your brain and lets you know that you're already getting overwhelmed, because you begin to see that your body is tense, your heart is beating so fast, you can't even think straight and all that. So those are examples of physical signs or reactions that your body gives when you begin to get angry. And while you are trying to manage your emotions, maybe you are somebody that really gets angry easily, or generally managing your emotions, if you are able to pay attention to your physical reactions when you are in a space that is like in the middle of maybe a disagreement or anything, then you'll be able to control it, if you get what I mean. So say for example, you are already getting overwhelmed, your legs are shaking and all that, and you are getting angry, you can tell because you're already sweating profusely and all that. So when you are able to identify that, try it next time you're having disagreement with your husband. When you're able to identify that, okay, I'm already getting tense, I think that's a good time to, if you know that you cannot manage it at that time, or you cannot control it at that time, that's a good time to actually walk away from that space, so to speak. Whatever works for you, maybe walk away to the room, maybe you walk outside, just like move away from that space, because I think that will help you to manage your emotions at that time. Because best believe, like, at that point, like at that point that you had, that stage that you had, that is where an outburst will come. Like it is inevitable. That's when you begin, both of you now begin to shout, or you especially begin now to begin to shout and all that. And there has never been any conflict that has been resolved in that kind of environment. So it's always best, like the best advice when you're trying to manage your emotion or trying to make things work in your relationship, to always identify those physical reactions when they begin to show. It's just it's just best, like, for you to just walk out of that space, leave that space, so that you can be able to calm your nerves, because there can't be any rational thinking where when you are angry or when you are about to be angry. So like there's no point trying to like show that kind of emotion, or trying to like, although yes, those are kind of emotion like you can tend to want to show it, but at the end of the day, if we are going to tell ourselves the truth on this channel, like those kind of emotions do not solve anything. They actually add more to the problem. So I feel that if you can quickly address that emotions and that, because the purpose and the end goal in any disagreement is to settle. And there's never a disagreement that is being settled when both of you are angry or the argument is really heated. You will even hear yourself. You'll be speaking, I'll be speaking. I'm not even hearing to listen. I'm hearing to like respond back to you, give it to you, bars. Give it to you, bars, both. I say, give me one, I want to give it to. So, and the purpose of any disagreement is for you to disagree, to agree. Like it's not a fair fighting is where everybody's being heard and there is like a meeting point, not trying to win an argument. If you get what I mean. So, the tip is learn to like recognize and identify those physical reactions that you get when you're about to get angry, and learn to take a time out, if that makes sense. So try this in the next time you are having like a disagreement with your spouse, and let me know if it works. Number 2 tip that will really help you is that you should learn to focus on managing yourself and not the other person. Yeah, you heard me right. Learn to like manage yourself and not the other person, because yourself is what you can control at that point. You cannot control another person's emotion, you cannot control how the other person reacts or how the other person takes like conflict and all that. But the one that you are very sure that you can control is yourself. So the best advice is actually to always focus on yourself. If the other person is still angry or doesn't want to talk to you or is not ready to talk, leave the person time. Everybody has like the way or the style at which they like react to situation. So let the person react the way they want to react, but you are able to like control yourself, speak to yourself, and try to manage yourself. Like instead of in this situation, me too, I'm trying to like revenge or anything. Like, why don't I act maturely? At least I can control myself to make things work. I would rather like be mature about the whole thing, or I would rather at least create a space or an environment where there will be peace, so that the other person can always come back to like speak their mind out, they will settle the issue. Because marriage is not about like just like trying to like have a disagreement. It's also the ability to fight for the good things in marriage and make it work, because apparently we are not each other's enemy, we are in the same team. And it's always like it's okay for like a team member to try to like disagree with the other team member, with the end goal of actually making the team better. Because definitely it outside is divided against itself cannot stand, if that makes sense. So the next time you maybe have a concern, your concerns about your partner or your spouse and all that, the idea is to share the way you feel, and not trying to shame the other person, or try to like make the other person feel bad. The end goal is to communicate how you feel about maybe the person's behavior, maybe the person did something to you that you do not like. So the end goal is for you to like communicate that with the hope that the person will change, and not to try to shame the person. Because apparently if you immaturely handle some situations, your wife or your husband will also react to you immaturely, because immaturity begets immaturity. So if you decide to like, that's why I heard like a saying lately when I was watching a video, I can't remember, the person says that if you speak to the king in a man, of course the king in that man responds to you, but if you speak to the fool in a man, the fool in that man respond to you. So that's the way it works. So I think consciously trying to ensure that you are doing the right thing at the right time and using your emotion rightly, and not using it against your marriage, this is the best gift you can give in any situation you find yourself in. This next one, like, is really something that everybody do at one point in time, even me that I'm talking. And I want to really like talk on this one. Avoid impulse cutoff. Like, I know it's like it is the go-to method everybody tend to run to when you have a disagreement with your husband, or you have a disagreement with your wife. You tend to like cut them off. We call it the silent treatment. You know, you have a lot of emotions, like, don't talk to me, I don't want to talk to you, I don't want to do it, I don't want to do that. It's always easier. It's actually easy to do. Just stay by yourself. Yes, I would say that silent treatment is something that should, if you know how to make use of it, then it should not be something that will now be used against your marriage. Instead of silent treatment, I think like taking a time out is actually much better. Instead of like going on a silent treating or like abandoning your spouse, giving him silent treatments, especially, will never like yield a very good result. Taking a time out and ask me what I mean. Ask me what I mean. I mean, like, when you have a disagreement, something he did you wrong, especially, instead of trying to like just go silent about it, I don't want to talk about it, I don't want to talk about it. I think the best thing is just to take a time out, to sit back and then just try to like think about the best way to address the issue. Because I know most times when we do silent treatment, like, and you bear me witness, it's not for you to want to address, not because you will later want to address the issue. You just want your spouse to notice that you're actually punishing them with your silence, so that they can repent of their evil ways. If you get what I mean. So I think instead of that, we can actually add a little twist to it, you know what I mean, by taking time out. And it's not just about taking time out and just ghosting your partner totally. I think the best thing is to communicate with your partner that, okay, at this time I'm not ready to talk about this thing that is happening between us. I just need time out to actually sit back and think about the whole situation, gather my thoughts, organize my thoughts, then we can talk about it. So that just even in the midst of you being like giving your husband or wife a silent treatment, you are still carrying them along, if you get what I'm saying. So they will know that it's not like you just want to like treat them badly by being silent. You're actually trying to come up with the best way to present your matter, or you present your concerns to them. And I think that makes sense. Even me, I'm going to be trying it too, and I think you should try it too, because I feel that that is a more mature way to handle issues in marriage. Another thing, and the last thing I will chip in, is that whatever it is, our emotion doesn't control us, we control our emotions. So whatever disagreement or conflict or whatever it is that you are facing in your marriage, I think you can still be civil about it and act maturely about it. Like, it takes a lot of conscious effort not to slam the door on your spouse when you are having disagreement, or not to like shout back or whatever it is. But we always tend to think, like I said earlier, that we are a team working together as a team. So we should always tend to like at least be civil, because regardless whether we have conflict or conflict, like, we still have to run the home has to keep going, if you get what I mean. Just the way you go to work, even if you have a conflict with your colleagues or all that, you still have to keep the work going. In fact, they might even team you up to do some assignments and all that. You won't, because you have a disagreement or anything with your spouse, then you just shun the person out. The ability to like control our emotions, to able to tame it down a bit, and let there be an atmosphere of like peace and like sanity, is what makes you a better person or a bigger person in any kind of situation you find yourself in. So I'm saying that in the midst of everything, the ability to at least like know that, yes, I have these emotions, I'm not going to allow the emotion to take the show, so to speak, take the center role, the front seat in my marriage, just because there's a disagreement. We can always work out these differences, but at least we should not allow it to affect, because I know it definitely won't start affecting, flipping into every other part of marriage if you are not careful. So what I'm trying to suggest is that while you are still trying to like manage your emotions, to not allow it to affect every other area of your marriage that needs to be to keep going. Because so I wanted to go with this in this video, like the summary of everything. If you are feeling right now overwhelmed in your marriage, overwhelmed about so many things, like your husband is not doing it, this one is not happening, you are feeling overwhelmed generally about the anger in your marriage, then know that you make up 50% of your marriage. So this is 100%. You make up 50% and your husband make up 50%. Look at it this way. So imagine you are able to control this 50%, like to be more calm. Maybe you are experiencing a lot of outbursts and I am like chaos kind of situation in your marriage. Okay, this is 100% chaos in marriage and I have like 50% to control. If you're able to like tame that anger and chaos and everything down on your own part, that is 15% of your marriage being calm and being like in peace and silent and quiet and all that good stuff. So if you're able to do that, that means you have been able to work on 50% of your marriage, which you are left with 50% of your other spouse. And who knows, perhaps because of this, your spouse might be inspired to actually work on his own part and measure up to your level of maturity or the standard you have set. Because obviously, if you are more calm and not taking things personally, who is your husband going to be fighting with? Who is your wife going to be fighting with? Who is it? Because as they are bringing it back, you are just taking it in and all. I'm not saying that you should stay in an abusive relationship or anything. Like I'm talking about an ideal marriage situation. I'm talking about domestic violence or anything like that. I'm talking about an ideal relationship, situations that happen in marriage. If you're able to like say that I want to act maturely, even when the other person is trying to be immature, then I think it is just a matter of time before the other person will measure up to your own level of maturity, and before you know it, things are going to be working out. So I'm still going to end this video with saying that control the parts which you can control, which is you managing your own emotion in marriage. Then you will see the way it will affect and inspire the other party to actually manage their own part of the marriage, and at the end of the day you'll see that like it's by collective effort you are able to both manage your emotions in marriage. Okay guys, so with this we have come to the end of this video. If you have not subscribed, I have been learning these tips that I've been chipping in at this time. Subscribe now. Don't just subscribe, we are go and like and share to people that you know that is going to help. This marriage situation is not about hiding. I wish that while we are growing up our parents were more bit more open about marriage. Maybe we would have been able to learn one or two things, but I'm glad that there are platforms now that we can learn, and the way I'm even also sharing with you now. So to not like hide this kind of information from people, if we invite them, not for me, invite them to come and get this one or two, even not for anything, to get one or two informations that will help and transform their lives. And until I come your way again with more tips like I will always do, stay blessed and I love you. Bye.